Okay, perfect. Then it'll be on.
And are you recording on the cloud or are you recording
it didn't ask me
on the laptop?
Didn't ask me where I'm recording.
Oh.
So I just said record. So hopefully it's on my laptop. It should be local.
Yeah, it should be local. Okay, I think we need to start.
I think we need to start,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start us. Welcome everyone. Welcome Matume, Abigail, and welcome to Lynnette. Lynnette has been my mentor. Lynnette has been my co-worker as well. We work together as area directors and we are still working together. So you'll see how we will make sure that this session is mostly for you, not for us, but you can ask us any question. I can guarantee you Lynnette will be able to answer that particular question. In terms of, I know that we had our chat, and in terms of our introduction, I want us today to have 2 rounds of introduction because you know what, we need to exceed expectation. And the first introduction that you need to do is that you need to give us your name, surname, your club name, as well as how many months, days, or even years that you've been a Toastmaster. Chimangazo, welcome. We've been waiting for you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for being late. My computer crashed. Sorry.
We do understand. Thank you for joining us. We are just starting with our introduction. It's just a matter of a name, surname, your club name, as well as the months, days, or years that you've been a Toastmaster. And we'll start with Matume.
Thank you, Rebecca, and good morning again to the fellow colleagues. My name is Matume Matou. I am the secretary for SARS Transformers Club. We are still a newly formed club. We started in September. So looking forward to learn more about the duties and the roles of the secretary so that we can take our clubs forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Matume. Abigail, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abigail Muchine Nika. I've been a Toastmaster since March 2017, and I'm currently secretary of Dynamite Lead Achievers Toastmasters Club, which chartered on the 29th of September 2021. And I'm actually co-sponsor of that club. So I'm here to get training and to serve my club better so that it can thrive and continue for the forthcoming years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abigail. Chimangazo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chimangazo. So I'm a newbie at Toastmasters. I joined recently in, this month. I'm part of the Midrand Groundbreakers Club. And I just asked them if I could piggyback from this training for secretary. So I'm not a secretary for our club, but I am volunteering at a different institution for the secretary role.
Wow, thank you, Chimangazo. This is actually amazing because it shows that you are already telling us that succession planning is happening. So in the next year, you will be the secretary and you're already gaining the knowledge for that. Over to you, Lynnette, for introduction.
You need me to introduce myself. I thought I could get.
Yeah, you don't have to use the method. you don't have to use what we say that we are introducing ourselves for, because if you tell us the years that you've been a Toastmaster, I think we'll fall off our chairs.
You'll fall off your chairs. No, that's not a problem. My name's Lynnette Vermaak. I've been a Toastmaster for quite a long time. But I won't tell you how long because Rebecca seems to think it's scary. received my DTM, which is Distinguished Toastmaster Award, in 2014 in the Legacy program, which is the old program. If you've only just joined Toastmasters, everyone now is working in pathways. So I'm working towards my DTM in pathways, and hopefully I'll get it in the next Toastmasters year. Because it takes you at least 2 years, if you plan very well, to work through everything and become a distinguished Toastmaster. But as we know, Toastmasters is a self-paced program, so you can take longer than that, but don't sit around for 10 years before you get there. Sit down, make a plan, and work to the plan. It's the best way with everything in Toastmasters. I am currently, my home club is Vital Communicators in Pretoria. I am also a member at TAG Toastmasters in Pretoria, and I am currently the admin manager on Cabinet. So, and in TLI, I've been a trainer now for quite a while. I can't remember how long I've been a trainer. And I'm still having fun. As long as you're learning and having fun in Toastmasters, stay there, because you never stop learning. Over to you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Lynnette. I am Rebecca Sibiya. As Lynnette said, DTM is the way to go. So if you don't know what DTM is, it's like your PhD in an academic environment. I also obtained my DTM in the Legacy program, meaning that is not pathways, is the curriculum that we used to enjoy in Toastmasters, but we changed to pathways. I only obtained my DTM after how many years? I won't tell you after how many years, because I've been focusing more on the leadership. Yeah, and I've been a Toastmaster for over, is it over 5? Yeah, it's definitely over 5 years, but I won't tell you exactly because I'm already going for a decade. I am a lifelong learner. I always learn. Hence, you see, I'm a facilitator, I'm a coach, I am a mentor of our SARS Toastmasters Club, SARS Transformers Toastmasters Club. And I'm happy to see Matome, the secretary from that club, being here, because then it shows that, you know, that club is interested in terms of learning. We will be co-facilitating with Lynnette. You will be enjoying. We appreciate that your videos are off, but what I can encourage you is to be present, because we will just call your name and you need to answer, unless if you are leaving for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, then you can let us know. But I hope that we won't bore you to need the break. I said second, yeah, I said 2 rounds. So the second round of introduction is that we need to know your expectation, the value that you are bringing to this meeting, as well as your energy level between 1 and 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the least. Expectation, value, as well as your energy level. We can start with Chimangazo.
Okay. So in terms of expectation, I do expect to get out of this meeting the ins and out of the secretary, the requirements for the role, and as well as you know, what characteristics you need to have to actually do the role. How demanding it is as a secretary, what is it that you're required to do for an organization, and what are the stakeholders that you will normally work with. In terms of value that I bring into the meeting, I promise to be fully present and contribute or take part in the meeting as per the requirements. And in terms of scale-wise, 1 to 10, I would say I am an 8, mainly because, well, I am moving today and yesterday, so I am actually quite tired, but I will try to stay up. So yeah.
Wow. I think we need to beat 8. If she is moving and she's at 8, I don't think we can be less than an 8. So good luck with the moving, Chimangazo, and thank you for sharing that with us. Matome, the same questions. Over to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. My expectations today as a secretary is to learn more about the secretary's role, and then how are we collating our report as secretaries to ensure that everything is recorded. Yeah, just looking forward to learn to empower myself much more in terms of the secretary's role. My values is that I'm a very energetic person, dedicated and determined. I'm here to learn, and my energy is at 10. I can say so. Thank you.
Energy is at 10. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Abigail, over to you.
Hi. Okay, I've forgotten the first part, but the reason why what I expect to gain. So I'm a member of 2 clubs already. Cable Bay Toastmasters Club, of where I'm secretary and I received training earlier, and Cape Connectors, where I'm VPE. So I'm here to learn more, because Toastmasters is where you continuously learn. So I'm just here to learn, and I promise to be present, to participate, to add value by giving the knowledge that I also have and sharing it with others. And in terms of energy, I'm here 100%. I'm going to participate, and I'm also looking forward to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. What we are going to cover as the basis, we are going to cover how to ensure that the club details are correct on the Club Central. And also the second one is that we are going to schedule, to show you how to schedule EXCO meetings and tracking action items. We are not going to show you per se how to do it, but we are going to give you the tools. The third thing is that we are going to let you know that as much as the VPE is ensuring that the hours for members are on base camp, but also you need to be checking with the VPE. And as you know, the club cannot be a club without a secretary. Welcome to the new member, Esther Docas Kakono. Esther, hi, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Esther.
I'm sorry, I'm very late.
Warm welcome.
Thank you. I'm sorry for coming in late.
Okay, you can just introduce yourself and tell us your club, as well as how many months, days, or years you've been a Toastmaster.
Okay, so I'm from Universal Speakers Club. Unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, I'm very, very new. This is like my 2nd month in the club. So when I joined in, I applied for this role because there was an opening, and I could see that I fit in this because I have like a background in secretarial, but very basic. So I decided that I should further my secretarial skills, and I applied for this role. So now I am on training. I've come here to train.
Okay, thank you. And what is your expectation for this session?
Okay, so I'm expecting to be equipped because, like I said, my knowledge in secretarial is very basic. So I'm expecting to be equipped with the right skills of doing it correctly. That's what I'm expecting.
Okay, and the value that you are bringing to this meeting, as well as your energy level between 1 and 10?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, value that you are bringing?
Should I also say, like, do I have to give like a rate, like to rate myself, or you want to hear something?
No, no, any value, what are you bringing today to us? Each person has brought something. So we want to know the value that you are bringing to this meeting. For instance, some people are bringing their presence, some people are bringing adding value or participating. I'm bringing learning. What are you bringing?
Okay, I'm also I think just my presence, because like I said, I'm very new, like very fresh, and I don't even know where to start and how it's done. So for today, it's just my presence so that I learn and see how it's done. Maybe next time I'll prepare myself knowing that this is what happens in the workshop, and then I will prepare myself. But for now, it's just my presence. I need to learn. I need to learn from you.
Wow, you'll realize that you are going to teach us something as well. We're going to learn from you. There's somebody who's here and is not even a month in Toastmasters. So we are all new here and we're going to learn from each other.
Thank you for that. Then I will put an input wherever I can as we go, as the meeting progresses. I'll put an input wherever I can. That's what I can say for now. Thank you, Rebecca.
It's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. As we are starting,
so Rebecca, are you screen sharing?
Is there something that you want to add?
I just want to know who's screen sharing, because I'm not, I thought I was, but it looks like you screen sharing. Or am I just confused?
Okay, let's hope. Let's close that. Let's close that, Lynnette. Yeah, because, yeah, okay. Let me stop to share and then you can screen share if that
I don't
is okay.
mind one way or the other.
Do you have one way or the other?
The
okay.
presentation
Let me continue.
We'll continue then, but it's not in presentation mode. So
yeah,
open it so that it's in presentation mode.
Presentation mode. Still going there, my friend.
Not a problem. I'm going to just ask everybody on the call to look at the chat. There's two things that I've put in the chat. That's perfect. Do you want to know? I don't want to continue. So you there. In the chat, there is a registration link. And I know you've introduced yourself to us, but please click on the link in the chat and register so that we know you actually were in the breakaway session. Otherwise, what happens is you end up not getting credit for the session. And then there's another thing there that I've posted, which is the link to a WhatsApp group for secretaries. Rebecca and I are members there and we support the secretaries. It's a safe place to ask questions. And there are lots of resources available in that WhatsApp chat in the group description. So if you join that group and then after this meeting, you go to that group description, join and go to the description, you'll find there's lots of resources on a Google Drive that is linked to that WhatsApp chat. But Rebecca and I will refer to it as we move through the presentation. I think the privilege of having so few people on the call with two facilitators is that we can make it very interactive. It's very difficult to have an interactive session when there's lots of people on the call. So we can make this hugely interactive. Rebecca's driving the show, so she must say if she wants you to interact and ask questions during the presentation or at certain places. And then we can comment and add and give you the information as we carry on. And when we're finished here, we also have a handout which we will email to you. So Esther, you have just joined. Will you type your name and your email address and your mobile number, please, in the chat so that I can't get it? Oh, and Esther joined late, so I will post both of the links again. I'll post them in about 10 minutes, just in case we get someone else joining. So that, because if you join late, you can't see the historical information in the chat. But perfect. Okay, sorry for interrupting, Rebecca. You can carry on.
No, you can interrupt at any time. You know me, I love connection. I love chatting as well. And I just love an interactive process. So you can chat whenever that you want to chat. You can raise your hand. You can unmute yourself because it's a small group as well. So don't wait for me to actually finish the presentation. And it's not only for Lynnette, you as participants as well. So in terms of our ground rules are very simple. know that your presence, as I said, is very important for you to be fully present here, because if you're not fully present, you're going to miss the nuggets that we're going to give you. You're going to miss the wisdom, or you're going to miss somebody who's sharing a creative or innovative way of doing the secretary job. Remember, it's also your responsibility to ask for what you need. Lynnette and I, we want to know exactly what you need in your club, because clubs are very different as well, or also in your personal capacity as a secretary. But if you ask us, we would be able to assist. Maximize your participation, and stay on mute unless you are speaking. In terms of what we said that, this was the group that we did in June, is the same presentation that we are giving to you. So if you want to chat, if you're not familiar with Zoom, you can raise your hand at the bottom. There are some icons there that you can either chat, you can raise your hand, and now I know that there are new things that they've added to ensure that you are able to communicate with us. The main purpose and expectation of the secretary role, you've told us that you are new and you want us to give you the nuggets. You want us to also equip you in terms of the characteristics that you need for being a secretary, and you've given us your expectation already. What are the responsibilities of a secretary within the Toastmasters or club level? Before I can even go there, please tell me if you know from club level, in terms of the reporting from club level, where do we go? Because you hear sometimes in Toastmasters, some people are talking about district, some people are talking about division, and some people are even, confused in terms of what is happening. Matume, in terms of the different, levels, do you know from club level, where do we go to in terms of reporting? Matume?
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm not sure, but I can try. I think it's the area director.
Okay.
I think it's area director, yeah.
So true. It's from the club fits into the area. From the area, where does it fit to, Shimangazo?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so from the club is to the area, from the area is to the division, and from the division is to the district.
Okay.
So that is how, that's how it's like. And I understand that you are new Toastmasters. Be free. This is a safe space to say, I don't know. This is a safe space to even say that, in my club, this is how we are doing things. Is this, the right way of doing things? So be open. In terms of the responsibilities, your roles and responsibilities are to make sure that you keep a clear and accurate minutes of the club in the EXCO meetings. How many of you have somehow, taken minutes, even during the short time that you've been a secretary? Matume, I know you have.
Yes,
for
I
other
did.
club members? Abigail, Esther?
We do minutes. We've been having EXCO meetings already, so I actually do my meetings live, like whilst we are present, and then I just send them right after the meeting.
Okay, so if you want, tell us what are the components or different things that you have on the minutes? What do you put on your minutes?
Okay, sorry, can I say something?
Yes, Esther.
Oh, okay. The date, and the time that we start the meeting, and
Yes.
also the title, like the agenda. If the president is the one who is calling for the minute, I have to acknowledge that the president called for the meeting, and then we started at this time. But for now, because it's virtual, so like it's online, I have to also state that it's online. But if we are meeting somewhere, I can state the place where the meeting is taking place. And after that, I write down the list of the people who attend, who are present at the meeting. And if there are any absentees, I also state that, just state their names, and then from there, write down like the points. And at the end, I have to state the time that the meeting is ended and when is the next meeting. Yeah, I think basically that's what
Wow. Wow, Esther, you've captured most of the items that you need to record on the minutes. Is there somebody who wants to add other items that you need to include on the minutes? Did we leave anything out? Abigail or Chimangazo?
Thank you, Rebecca. I think she covered most of the things as we follow actually the agenda the way it is in terms of the heading and the subheadings. When I recorded the minutes, I just have to record what is being said in the minutes in terms of the agenda items. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Abigail, Chimangazo?
Not sure if I missed it. If there are any apologies given also.
Okay. Any apologies, Abigail?
Yeah, I've just said any apologies.
Okay. You've listed majority of what is needed for the items to record. I've seen Lynnette. I will speak to you just now. So what is interesting is that we have forgotten to put the club name. So we don't know, we have the minutes, but we don't know what club, what club is this? The minutes are for which club. So club name is very important. Yes, the date you said is very important. The type of the meeting is very important. Whether it's a club meeting or an executive committee meeting, the location, somebody said that, whether it's an online or if it's a physical meeting, the names of the attendees, yes, then apologies as well. The name of the presiding officer, the person that is actually presiding over the meeting. Also, if there are correction and approval of the previous meeting, you need to record that. And if there are any motions, we might be having a meeting. Lynnette might be raising a motion to say, this is the motion that I'm raising. Normally in Toastmasters, if somebody's raising the motion, there is somebody who is also seconding that motion. So you need to include the name of the mover, the person that is moving the motion, as well as the person that is seconding that motion. And you need to state whether that motion has passed or it was defeated. Then you also need to include the main points if there are any debate in terms of when are we supposed to meet and when are we not supposed to meet, and any other committee reports that has been included in the meeting. Lynnette, over to you.
Rebecca, yes, I have another just couple of points, and one is just a matter of interest. In your club name, look up and find out what your club number is. Every club in Toastmasters International has a unique number, and put that number with your club name. So my club, my home club is club number 7056, because it's quite important in the long term that you learn to know what your club number is, because there's many places where it's asked for. So if you put it on your agenda and in your meeting minutes, and I would recommend that you keep your agenda heading and your meeting minutes heading the same. So with your club name and where it meets and so on, and the club number, because that way it's an easy reference point to find your club number. The other thing maybe that you need to add to your minutes is follow-up items. So depending on how you keep your minutes, I run minutes with a column down the side, and then I note there. So you've put in the body of the minutes, you're going to look for a new venue, and I've put in the side, in the column, who's responsible for that. And then When you come to the next minutes, you can see if it's been done. So those are action items, because minutes are generally a recording of what's happened, but your action items you need to highlight in a way, and that's how I highlight them. So I can go back afterwards and say, okay, Mary and Peter, you were responsible for researching information on a new venue or whatever it was. Can you give us a report back? What have you found? And then in a follow-up meetings, you leave that action item there until it's closed off. Okay, and I see Matome's got a hand up now.
Yeah, Matome, before we say Matome, what Lynnette was saying is very important. With the action item, let it be also smart, items, in a sense that they need to have a timeline. Because if you are saying Lynnette is going to do this, and we don't put the time that Lynnette is supposed to be doing that, even if we follow up in the next meeting, that might be, Lynnette might say, but I don't have the timeline. So it's very important to put the timeline so that when we ask, Lynnette, have you done this? Then Lynnette can say yes or no, and we'll be able to measure whether Lynnette is, part of our values. I don't know if you know part of the Toastmasters values, but I'll go to that now. Matome?
Thank you, Rebecca. I wanted to know if you highlighted the most important things that need to be on the minutes. You specified the club number. So what I wanted to know is, must we also put the number of, let's say, it's meeting number 2 on meeting number 3 that is being attended? Must we also put that to ensure that we know that this is meeting number 4 or whatever number is it? Thank you.
Yes, in my opinion, that is very important. And the reason why I'm saying that is that even during club meetings, the VPE needs to put the meeting numbers, because you'll see with, when you walk this Toastmaster journey, sometimes people will say, oh, wow, we are having a celebration. It's the 100th meeting, it's the 100th meeting. And the reason why they know is because they are counting, and it's also because they are recording that. Lynnette, any comment on that?
No, it is important to, the agenda templates are in the WhatsApp group, in the group description. So what I do normally is I have the club name, the club number, and the charter date. So in other words, my club chartered on XYZ date, and the meeting number. So especially for your club meetings, keep the meeting number in there as well, so that eventually when you get to your 50th or your 100th club meeting, you can have a celebration. When you get to having your club has been in existence, it's been chartered for 1 year or for 2 years or 3 years, you can have a birthday theme meeting. So that's also very important to be able to do that. I number minutes for the year. So in other words, for this Toastmasters year, this is the business meeting number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. And then I would start that numbering sequence again in the new Toastmasters year. But for club meetings, you just keep numbering it, and it runs. It's a continuous numbering system.
Wow, you are touching on a very important aspect, Lynnette, because as a new Toastmaster, I might be thinking that, we've got club meetings and they say that, I'm a secretary, so there are exco meetings, but you spoke about a business meeting. What is a business meeting? If I'm a new Toastmaster.
Okay, there are 3 sorts of meetings. You have club meetings where you record your actions that happened in the club and who was the best speaker and who was the best evaluator and so on. You then have exco meetings, and exco is where the executive of your club decides on the business of running the club. So are you going to change your meeting dates for some reason? Maybe there's a public holiday coming up and you want to adjust your meeting date slightly. Maybe you want to discuss how much you're going to charge for semi-annual dues for the upcoming semi-annual dues period. Those sort of things are discussed in the executive meeting. and whatever other club business you have, you discuss in the executive meeting. How are you going to plan to achieve all your educational goals, and when are you going to have an open house? Those things are discussed and not finalized, but put together, formalized in your executive meetings. Then you have a club business meeting. That is when all your club members get together and the business that has been discussed in the executive meeting is summarized and presented to the club. So if you want to change your meeting date, your executive puts together an idea of what they want to do, but your full club has to approve that. You can't just have some members deciding what's going to impact the whole of your club. So then you take your not your decisions, but your ideas from your executive meeting, and you propose them to your club members, and they would vote on it, and they would say, sure, next week we should hold or in 3 weeks, 3 meetings time, we must hold a speakathon. Or on this day, which has been proposed by the EXCO, we're going to hold our speech contest. Or the club semi-annual dues are going to be whatever, and that is ratified at your business meeting where all your club members get together and they agree that. Just another thing that I meant to mention earlier is you must always vote on a treasurer's report. So a treasurer tables their report, but it must always be proposed and seconded and accepted, because that impacts all your members and it's your finances of your club.
Thank you, Lynnette, on that. Yes, remember what we spoke about in terms of if there's a motion, so meaning that if you're voting, there should be somebody who's saying that I accept and somebody who's seconding that. And as Lynnette said, the treasurer's report is very important because it's our club's money that we are talking about when the treasurer is actually reporting. Anything else, Lynnette, before we move?
Nothing else comes to mind right now. So I'll interrupt you again if I need to, but I'm going to raise my hand because I see I've forgotten to lower it.
Not a problem. In terms of roles and responsibilities, remember you need to keep membership records and attendance registers. And now we have online clubs, hence saving them in a digital format is always advisable. The third thing is that you need to give membership register to the treasurer to submit some semi-annual dues. The third aspect of your roles and responsibilities, do you understand how it works like? And I will ask who, Matume. And Lynnette, you can perhaps assist us in explaining that. What do they mean when they say that you need to give membership register to the treasurer to submit semi-annual dues? That is the question. And the second question, which is to Chimangazo, do you know when the annual the semi-annual dues are being submitted? Firstly, Matume.
Thank you, Rebecca. I don't know. I really, speaking, I don't know. Thank you.
Thanks, Chimangazo.
I'll try what does it mean to give membership register to the treasurer? So I think what that means is we need to give to the treasurers the members so that the treasurer can issue the invoices for people to renew their membership. I think that's what it means. As I mentioned, I just joined Toastmasters. So when I joined, I think people were getting their invoices for the renewal. So I think I would go and guess around end of September for renewal in October.
Okay, and the next one?
Sorry, what is the next question?
Because it's semi-annual, so meaning that it's 6 months. So you said that the one is in September. When is the next one?
So the other one will be sent end of March for renewal in April.
End of March. Okay. Thank you, Abigail. Lynnette, do you want to comment on that?
What I just wanted to say is your membership list is available on Club Central. And later when we get to the indication of how to work through Club Central, we'll show you where it is. Your membership list gives you lots of information about your members, their email, their names and their membership number, the email addresses, their phone number, and so on. But then it also tells you whether they paid up or not. And you use that, and it tells you whether they registered on Pathways or not. And it tells you who your EXCO members are. So all of that information is on what is called your club roster that you will pull from Club Central. And it's a very useful thing, but not the club members don't have access to Club Central for those type of reports. And not all club members have the same access. So the secretary and the president and the vice president education have the highest level of access on Club Central. Other members have less access. So I'm not sure, quite honestly, if the treasurer can draw a membership list on his own. I think that's why the secretary has to draw it and give it to the treasurer, because you might have forgotten that you've got a member because they haven't come to meetings for a while. So it's best to always check what's that you know that your club members are actually registered and on the list in Club Central as well. Because it's not so much of an issue now because everybody works on Pathways. But previously on the legacy system, you could have a member in your club for 6 months and he wasn't actually registered on Club Central, and nobody actually realized that there was a problem.
Yeah, thank you, Lynnette, for that. Remember that in terms of your roles and responsibilities, you need to submit the new club officers list to the World headquarters before the end of June. So before the end of June, you'll see that's when we normally do, the elections, the nominations, and because it's the new Toastmasters year that is starting on the 1st of July. So your new EXCO will be starting, but you need to submit that list before the end of June. So in your case, you'll need to submit before the end of June 2022. You also need to submit any changes to club officers, immediately. Life happens. So in terms of, our EXCO members, sometimes you'll find that somebody, in terms of work or in terms of life, there are changes, and there are changes in terms of, the roles. So Lynnette is changing from being a VPE to being a normal member, and Rebecca is replacing, Lynnette. So you need to be able to put Rebecca's details on Club Central so that Rebecca can reflect, as the correct detail as the VPE, because Lynnette has actually left that. Please do not be like other clubs whereby that information is left until late. Or as soon as that has been decided upon, that needs to be updated on the Club Central. Okay. In terms of your roles as well, I see in terms of your roles as well, I'm going to stop a little bit here and talk about the transferable skills that are available. Because as a Toastmaster, remember that you are not only a Toastmaster to do Toastmaster public speaking and leadership only. The skills are transferable and you are able to use that at work as well. So in terms of note taking or report writing, if you are not doing it at work, you will be able to actually do it at work, or if you're doing it, you will be able to do it efficiently. In terms of, our policy administration, because in Toastmasters, you'll see there is something that is called the Constitution as well. And it's something that, the secretary will make sure that it's saved, safely. And I know that it's kept always. So the secretary will ensure that those details are kept always, digitally as well as physically for those clubs that decide to do the physically. You are the librarian or historian, because everything that we need to go to you as a secretary. Also in terms of research, that is part of the skills that you will learn. Document control. Different people are using different methods of, saving, and I'll come to that in terms of document control. In terms of events and activities coordination as well, you will be part of that in terms of, purchasing or ordering, or ordering as well, because you'll know that if you've got this event, as a secretary, what part are you actually playing when we've got events, and how you're also monitoring and evaluating. Remember what Lynnette said, that you need to be able to track. And Lynnette said that, with her template, she has, tracking, she tracks in terms of who does what when. So we need to be monitoring as well, whether we are doing things in the right way or whether we are exceeding expectation or not. I want us to stop here in terms of document control. How are you saving your documents as it is right now? And Lynnette can also advise us in terms of the different methods or the different ways that other clubs are actually saving their details. I'll start with Esther. In terms of our saving.
Thank you, Rebecca. So far, I just have a folder on my laptop. That's where I put my records, but I don't have much yet because, like I said, so last night we had our second meeting. So what is in that folder for now are the minutes that I write down so far. So now that I'm seeing new things that I need to keep record of, so in future I'll be also adding that to that folder. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you so much, Esther, for sharing. Esther is using a folder. So my question to Esther is that if that folder is saved locally on your computer, what happens if your computer crashes?
So what I do when I take down the minutes, I also send them to the president. So he also keeps them for backup and future reference as well, because he needs to check on if I'm doing things correctly. And I also email. I also I just have them on my folder, but I sent myself in a personal email so that if my computer crashes, I can always retrieve via email. So I send myself emails of important documents that I want to keep, because I've lost so much stuff previously. So now that's how I back up my stuff, my files. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther, for sharing. Abigail?
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I dropped off the call somehow. But what we do is we have, as a club, then I'm a lead achievers, we've got a Gmail address and we have a Google Drive. So in that drive, we have folders. We have folders with all the information for like different roles, the club handbook. So that's where and we record our meetings as well. So we store everything in there, including our minutes for our exco or anything, so that anyone who has access can get in there. And for when the next committee comes, they always have a record of everything that has been happening. So even our charter documents are in there. So, and the people who have access are the secretary, the VPE, and the VPM. They all have access to those folders. Yeah.
Thank you, Abigail. Google Drive there. Chimangazo and Matome.
So on my side, I usually just use Google Drive for my files, but I do hope that for Toastmasters, there's like a server on Club Central where people can have access to that, just in case if something happens to the secretary and someone has to take over from them, then there's a central place where they can retrieve the files.
I don't think that we have something like that, but let me hear, before I hear Lynnette, we had somebody saying that, I save, the minutes and then I send it to myself. So there's only the president and the secretary that is involved. What happens if, you don't have access to both the president and the secretary? Does it mean that now the show will stop, or what does it mean? Matume, your comment?
Yes, thank you, Rex. In our club, SARS Transformers Club, where I believe we are doing the same way that Abigail has explained it. We have our Gmail where we save under the Google Drive. We have different folders for every officer. They save their work or any other documents under those folders. That's also how we do it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Koliswa? Koliswa, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry about that.
Okay.
So at our club, we are using a Google Drive, right? So
Okay.
that's where the Exco, everyone has access to it, and there are different folders for the different portfolios. So that's where we save everything.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I believe that there's also a cloud whereby you can save nowadays. Lynnette, do you have other ways of saving?
I would just recommend that you have a Google Drive and you put everything, each club then has their own Gmail address and a Google Drive, and there's enough place there to keep most of your stuff. And someone mentioned that you have a folder for each portfolio. That's the best way to do it. As the secretary, it would be your task every now and again to clean up that Google Drive, to make sure that the people who have access to it are actually still members of your club, and to ensure that your new members have access to this information in Google Drive. And if you have what are called cheat sheets or descriptions of the different roles that you would use, and so members can have access to that information as well, so that if you are being a Toastmaster for the first time, you can go to the Google Drive, you can find the role description for Toastmaster, and you can prepare for that in advance. It's useful to keep those kind of resources in your Google Drive as well. Those resources are all available on Toastmasters International website, but it's nice to have them available for yourself. It's perhaps easier reference for members who are new. Your club information is actually not stored on Club Central. There is records of who your club is, where they are, what their physical meeting address and so on is, but your actual things like your minutes and your agenda templates and so on will not be available on Club Central.
Thank you, Lynnette. Before we move on, Ankesto, welcome.
I was just coming through because just now I snuck in. I was just here to quickly try help Esther, who's not connected to audio. She's having a technical glitch. I've asked her to try and disconnect and rejoin. So she just sent me a message for help, so that's why I came. But I'll be off again now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome back, Esther.
Thank you.
I'm testing your audio. Thank you, Anke, for assisting.
Thank you so much. But now I missed a lot, but it's okay. I'll catch up as we go.
Don't worry.
We'll send you the recording.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, as we continue in terms of roles and responsibilities, remember that you need to keep your club records, club charter, constitution, bylaws, membership, details, all the details, the secretary, please keep them. And also you need to deal with the club correspondence. If you're not available at the meeting, it's your responsibility to ensure that somebody takes the minutes. And I heard somebody saying that I am here because I'm thinking of being, a secretary. So it's very important for you to train your successor. And the president is really relying on you to prepare the club success plan. If you don't know what a club success plan, we will cover that at the end if we have time. And also remember, you need to present feedback on your portfolio at club and exco meetings. With other clubs, I know that they will present their exco reports. With other clubs, they don't do that. With other clubs, before they start the meeting, they will have a 1 minute 1 minute slot on their program so that they can speak about the previous minutes, but other clubs, they do it differently. So do what works for your club. Lynnette, do you have any comment?
No, not offhand. Just that you save everything, and you run your meetings as what works for your club, but you must make sure that there's a certain amount of formality in it and that you do record things as they should be.
Oh yes, that's very important, because yeah, as I said, run it, customize it to how you want it, but also there are guidelines and principles that you need to follow that Toastmasters requires. You might be asking yourself, what are the critical success factors for the secretary role? What makes this important? And I think that we touched base on some. As I told you, it's going to be very informal. You can ask questions whenever that you want to ask questions. In terms of our priorities for this year, we spoke about scheduling monthly EXCO meetings and tracking actions. It's your responsibility as the secretary to make sure that you schedule these meetings and track actions as well. So do not wait for the president to tell you, it's your role. So you need to do it. And also, I think what works is that if you set these meetings beforehand, then people can actually plan their calendar around those days. We spoke about ensuring that your club details are correct on Club Central. We also are telling you now that you need to assist with pathway level completion approval. Remember, we said that the VPE will be able to do that, but also as a secretary, because you are able to see the pending request, we would recommend that you also remind the VPE to make sure that they actually ensure that pending requests are approved. And you need to ensure that Pathways Education Awards are registered on the Club Central, and we'll cover that before we end today. Remember, this year, every member matters. So I'm wondering if you know why people have joined Toastmasters. I know that you said that it's new clubs, but why people have actually joined Toastmasters. In terms of the transferable skills, we've already touched on the transferable skills earlier on, and yes, please, now, I don't know if we need to be taking our snapshot, Lynnette, and reminding us to also save the chat for future references as we plan the next court in terms of questions or in terms of comments, and also complete the Google attendance register, the link that Lynnette has sent you or has placed on the chat.
On the chat. Yeah, the link to join the secretary support group is in the chat. I'll post it again in about 10 minutes. And I think everybody's registered by now. Excuse me. I think that we'll keep the photo until after the end of training so that we can stop the screen share and do the photo then.
Yes.
And it is now 10:20. Okay. Thanks, Rebecca. Cheers.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Lynnette. So in terms of performing your duties, I know most of us, we need assistance with Club Central on how to. With a show of hands, how many of you have actually used the Club Central? Okay. There are no hands. And how many of you, or only Lynnette? Yes. And how many of you have submitted an education award as yet? You are a new club. Why am I even asking that? Okay, let me not go faster here. Let's see. In terms of a Club Central, if you are already a member, Abigail, I see your hand is raised. Yes, Abigail.
Oh no, you had asked like how many have had access to Club Central. That's why I raised my hand. Like I use Club Central. I'm familiar with it.
That is
I use it constantly. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So as a secretary, Club Central is going to be your friend. If you have not registered as yet, please make sure that you register even on Pathways. And as the secretary, because you're part of the EXCO, you will have access to Club Central. So on Club Central, you can see that there's Club membership as well as Club administration. I think we'll start with Club membership. Club membership there, you will be able to submit payment. That is for the treasurer. There's a club roster, there's submit education award, as well as adding members. You need to, if you go to the club roster, it will ask you for the first name. There's a surname as well. There's position, there's paid until for those that will be registering, if you're required to assist with that. And remember, one of our participants said that, it's end of March as well as end of September. So for now, most of the people will be paid until the end of March. Yes, until the end of March 2022. Lynnette, you can add as I go on, because Lynnette is an expert in terms of pathways. I know that she was also the pathway ambassador. I don't know if she's still doing that. So, Lynnette, would you want to go through this actually?
I can go through this. So your club roster comes, you can pull it and you can draw your roster as a PDF in the form that you're seeing it now. It gives you, and as Rebecca was saying, you can sort it by first name or by paid until or whatever. I find the easiest way to work with a club roster is to draw a CSV, an Excel report, download that and then save it as an Excel document. It gives you much more information that way. But while we're still on this screen, you can see towards the right-hand side, there's an edit button. You have the ability to edit the address, the email address of all of your members. So you can't edit all of the information, but from this screen, you can click on edit and you can edit a person's email, all of your members' email addresses if they ask you, because if they can't access through their email, it's likely that they will be logged out of the system or locked out of the system. You can move on. Okay, so if you're drawing the report the way it is there, you can print it either to your printer or you can print it as a PDF and save it. If you're drawing it as in Excel, this is what you get, a CSV report. Some people like to work with CSV. I prefer them to save this document as an Excel sheet, and then you can manipulate that as you need it. And you can carry on. What this is doing now, I think it's adding a new member. Just carry on. Okay, so this is where you find the report. You log in, you go to Leadership Central, you'll have that button, and then you go across to Club Central as it's indicated there. This is how you reach this report. And after that, you go here to submit educational awards. Now, this is a role that you can do in support of your VPE. It's your VPE's responsibility to submit educational awards, but they might ask you to assist. And the other thing is the VPE may not submit their own reports, their own educational awards, so they might ask either you or the president to do that. So when you've selected on submitting an educational award, it will ask you to select your member. And you can see here in the screen, VUSI has been selected. That happens from a drop down. So you can only submit educational awards for people in your club, not for other people. You then select the educational program that they are registered in. Some people might be registered in more than one program, so make sure you're submitting the correct information there. And then you click on review the award, and it gives you an opportunity to review it. And then you check to see that you've got the correct member and the correct path that you're submitting for, and you click submit the award. Once you've done that, it sends an email automatically to your VPE and to the member so that they know the reward has been submitted. What I suggest that clubs do and the VPE does is that once a member has submitted on Basecamp that they have submitted an award, just to also send a WhatsApp message, because sometimes the VPE or the secretary don't go into Basecamp for a few days and the member can't progress until the award has been approved in Basecamp and uploaded. Well, it's two separate actions. To approve something in Basecamp is one action, and it must then also be submitted on Club Central. Otherwise, it doesn't come into your distinguished program report showing that the educational has been submitted. So I've gone off at a little bit of a tangent, but that's where we are now. Just go back to the previous screen. Okay, so now we're going to no, that's fine. And then the next one is doing the club administration section, where you do the club bylaws and the contact information and the club officer assignment. So move on. And again. So this is the second screen. If you go onto Club Central, you find it's almost divided into two pieces. Okay. The membership award and the administration. There's a tile with 4 blocks in it, and then there's a tile underneath with all of these blocks in. So this is where you do club administration. So once a year in about May, you will elect new club officers, and it is then up to the secretary to go and submit the club officer list on Club Central. And you have to do that so that you don't lose access to Club Central. Because if at the end of the year you haven't submitted the new officers, then your club will lose access to Club Central. You also here have the addendum of standards and options, and this is where you would change it. So you would say here, this club meets online, this club meets on every 2nd and 4th Tuesday, this club meets, and you put all that information in here. Your membership composition, so is it a corporate club or is it a community club? That type of information goes in there. Your club dues, your membership fee, you can put in there, except I wouldn't put that in there because your membership fee is $45 US, and that's all that they want to know of here. But you may have a different membership fee in your club because you might be paying for meals, you might be paying for a Zoom account, you might be buying awards for trophies at the end of the year and so on. So that's where all that information would go in. And the contact information, it's vitally important that you keep this tile up to date, because if someone tries to contact you through your website or through Club Central and this contact information is not correct, the lead doesn't ever come to you. So you must make sure the contact phone number and the contact email address is an address that people can get, you can reach. Usually you would put in your club Gmail address and have more than one person monitoring that. But the phone number, make sure that the person who's listed there is still a member of your club and willing to deal with those calls. The meeting location is important if you're meeting in person, otherwise it's perhaps less important. And the schedule is how often you meet. There we go. I think we've done this. Oh, and if you have a website and if you have a Facebook link, it's useful to put that information in there. Club officer assignment has to be done at and this is quite important too. This gets done in May when your new elections are held, and you must have a president role filled. You must have a secretary role filled, and you must have one of the vice presidents filled. So if you can't fill your entire exco, those roles must be filled, and they must be filled by different people. You can have your treasurer and your secretary perhaps being the same person, or you can have your VPM and your VPPR being the same person, but you cannot your secretary, president, and your vice president education must be 3 different people. There it says there, the president, VPE, and the secretary must be 3 different people. You can't have any of those one member doing the same thing. Make sure your club email address is correct. It's usually the president's email address, and that your terms are correct. So they start on usually the 1st of July and carry on for a year. But if you're a club that meets every week, then possibly your term for your exco is only 6 months. And that's this. So now we've got a couple of minutes for discussion and for the group photo. Or
yes.
There more on
yeah.
here?
No, I don't think there is more. Remember that we will give them the handout as
The
well.
handout, yeah.
And remember, the purpose of the secretary is very important. And your purpose is to help keep the club organized and on track. You guys have been amazing. Thank you. Any question, any comments before we close off? And thank you.
Can you stop the screen share so that everyone can
yes.
put the camera on and we can take a photo?
Yeah. Yes.
We're very good at taking screenshots. Yeah.
I think in terms of age, some of us, you know, age-wise.
I'm going to stop recording.